So you want to become a licensed barber in the US. Well, let me give you the two ways that you can become a licensed barber this year. So the first way to become a licensed barber is to just go to barber school. You can go to barber school. Depending on where you live, depending on which school you choose, can depend on the variation of how long it is. When I did mine in Maryland, and they gave me two options. One would have been for, I think it was like a year, and the other one was like 9 months. I think that was like part time and full time or something like that. So I did full time, and it was, yeah, and I was done in 9 months, got my certificate, and then I had to go take the state board exam, and that's pretty much what they do there. When it comes to barber school, they just prepare you for the state board exam. When you go to barber school is like, it's basically just like a barbershop with with a teacher that's like helping you and guiding you and making sure you don't, mess up too bad or hurt anybody or hurt yourself or anything like that. So it's like a regular barbershop. Clients come in, they pay very cheap haircuts, so they're usually paying about $5. They know what they're getting themselves into by going to a barbershop and just paying, a cheap price, because it's not, it may or may not be the best haircut of your life, or a shave or whatever it is that you're doing, but you know that you're going in there for people that are beginners. So you hope to not get anybody that's gonna like be mad at you, but people are people and they still get mad even though they know what they're getting themselves into. So anyways, but yeah, you can do barber school. Barber school will get you really well prepared for the state board exam, which is that's the most important thing that you need to become a licensed barber and work in any barbershop. Well, any barbershop in your state. So just because you're a licensed barber in one state does not mean you can go work in any state. You have to, if you're living in a different state, sometimes the hours may be different. So like in Maryland, I only needed like, oh, I'm forgetting. This was a long time ago too. This was like this was like over like 13 years ago. Damn. So, back then it was like I only had to do, I want to say 1,200 hours, I think it was. Let's just say that. I don't remember it for sure, but I think it was 1,200 hours that you needed in school and then to go take your state board exam. And then, yeah. So barber school is really good for that. They'll make sure well, for the most part, they'll make sure that you are well prepared to pass. And when it comes to state board, it's like the state board exams, it's more so focused on, uh, well, you got to pass the written. Oh, yeah, you got to pass the written and the practical. But I heard that they took out the practical. I don't know if that was nationwide or if that was just in a specific state. I really don't remember. But if they did, then that's one big thing you don't have to worry about. Uh, but like they're more so like I think even with the written, it's more so focused around sanitation. So I want to make sure that you're doing everything properly to make sure that everything is sanitized and make sure you're not passing any germs around to other people and doing things incorrectly. So, and I mean, they tell you what to study and all that kind of stuff. So they get you well prepared for the state board exam in barber school. Depending on your state, it could be anywhere from like 12 to like 1,500, maybe more. I'm not too certain on other states, but I think California, where I'm at now, is like 1,500 hours. And then where I was at before in Maryland, it was 1,200. If you have 1,200 hours in Maryland, but you want to move to California, you can easily take a test to make up for those hours. Um, you just talk to the State Board of California, and they'll figure out a way for you to make up the hours. And then I don't think you need to retake a state board exam. You just need to like make up the hours somehow, and then they will transfer your 1,200 hours over, and then that other 300 will get added on, and then you can get your California barber's license. And if you already have 1,500, and let's say you're going to move to Maryland, which is only 1,200, then it should be an easy transfer, just like you already have the hours, so just transfer everything over, and you are a licensed barber in that state. So yeah, so barber school is the route that I went down, and yeah, it was cool. I mean, you also build a little bit of a clientele. You know, if you end up working somewhere in that neighborhood, now more than likely those people won't follow you. If they happen to just really love you and they do, great. But more than likely they won't follow you because you are. Or because the reason that they're going to the barber school to get their haircut in the first place is to get like super cheap haircuts. So yeah, so that's something to keep in mind. So you might build a little bit, but you know, you'll build a clientele for sure while you're in school, but will they follow you after? That's hard to say. But yeah, I did barber school, 9 months, finished, got my certificate. I passed it. I think I passed it the first try. And then yeah, but like I said, it was a long time ago, so I'm not sure what the rules are now, if anything's a little bit different. And yeah, I mean, it's not a bad route to go down. I did it. So yeah, I think barber school is not a bad route to go down. The only con I would say to that is that you're not getting, it could depend on the barber school, but you're not getting the best hands-on experience of learning how to fade and get super sharp, crispy lines and doing things like that. So, um, that would be the only thing, but you learn that in the barbershop regardless. So it's still like eventually you'll pick it up once you get into the barbershop. So it's still not that bad. And the second way of becoming a licensed barber in the US is becoming an apprentice. So if you have a friend who's a licensed barber, and I think he has to have worked in a barber shop or been a licensed barber for a certain amount of years, but yeah, let's just say it's like 5 years, right? So if he's a licensed barber for at least 5 years and works in a barber shop, you can go and ask him if you can be his apprentice. So basically, you will either bring in a friend that will let you cut his hair, or if he has somebody for you, or maybe himself, he'll let you cut his hair or cut one of his clients, and he'll basically just walk you through it, and he'll teach you everything about being behind a chair. He'll teach you everything about how it is to be a barber. Um, Assuming you have just like the perfect role model, you know, he'll teach you everything from like customer service to, you know, how to fade, you know, how to use a straight razor, everything like that. So you get a real, more personal, intimate, hands-on experience when you are doing an apprenticeship. And I didn't do that, but I know a lot of people that have. And the one thing that I will say about an apprenticeship is it will skyrocket your progression on learning how to fade and doing lineups and straight razor and all that kind of stuff. It will skyrocket you because you are getting a one-on-one hands-on experience from a great master barber who is, I'm assuming, like I said, assume it's just like a great role model, um, giving you a great hands-on experience, teaching you all the right things. And on top of that, you got other people in that barbershop that he probably works in that are also great as well and also giving you other tips because it's a lot of trial and error. You know, practice makes perfect. Like, not everything's going to be great. You have to, just like anything, you have to be, you know, be willing to get past that part where you're getting discouraged and stuff like that, and just watch as the progress comes throughout the years. And this is a long journey for most. Like, I remember when I started, like, I used to think I was good, but my real experience, I mean, my real, like, that moment when I realized, like, oh wow, like, I'm great at every type of hair texture. I can always put out good work, like all this stuff. Like, I didn't have to worry about anything, was like at least 5 or 6 years down the line, you know? That was when I really had like that, like, oh, I got it now, you know what I mean? Like, there have been moments where I progressed and I've seen the progression, but there was just like there was just that one moment where you're like, oh, I finally got past that breaking point of like, okay, I can do anything, like any, you know what I mean? So you just have that confidence, that straight confidence for any type of, hair, any type of haircut. Yeah. So and uh, and yeah. So I mean, so doing an apprenticeship, I think usually takes about a year, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not too sure. And it's just the hours are going to be the same. You just need to make sure you put in a certain amount of hours. Well, I think I've never done an apprenticeship, but I'm assuming the hours are the same as the state board that requires you to. I don't know if it's more or not, but like in California, it's 1,500. So you need to make sure that you do your 1,500 hours of apprenticeship with that barber, and then he should be also preparing you for the state board exam. Um, if there's no practical, then there's not really much you have to worry about besides just study your book. And honestly, I think you should be able to find that stuff like online somewhere on YouTube or just anywhere online. Maybe a Amazon. You can purchase a book that will teach you all the things that you need to pass your state board exam. So, like I said, I've never done an apprenticeship myself, but there's a big pro to that as well. So the pros and cons of barber school and apprenticeship. I would say the pros of both are the pros of the barber school is you're getting a more in depth of like the studying for the state board exam. You have a higher chance of like passing state board exam on the first try, and you're learning a good mix of everything from like long hair. I think depending on the school, but like from like long scissor work. In barber school, you don't learn a lot of scissor work, but you do learn a good amount. It's not like cosmetology school where that's more like scissor work, shear work, and color and stuff like that. This is like you're learning more with your clippers in barber school. So you learn how to fade, you learn how to do lineups, you learn how to do a straight razor shave, and then you learn a little bit of shear work and perms as well. So you kind of get almost a good mix of like everything. The pros in apprenticeship would be that you skyrocket your progression a lot faster in learning how to fade, learning how to do a lineup, learning how to do a straight razor shave. Like I've seen it firsthand. I haven't done an apprenticeship, but I've seen it. Like people that are learning from a barber who is really good at what he does, very skillful. When they're sitting there learning from that person, like pretty much right when they're done with their apprenticeship, they're putting out great work, like amazing work. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, being a barber, there's a lot more to it, customer service and all types of stuff. But they are putting out amazing work like right away, and they have that confidence in doing like really clean, sharp haircuts, like pretty much out the gate. So um, I mean, yeah, I would say that's like the big pro for apprenticeship, but the cons for both, I would say barber school, like, yeah, like I mean, it's gonna take a while for you to get that confidence and skill until you actually get your first job in a barber shop, and then it's gonna probably take a little while longer until you uh, get that same kind of confidence from that apprenticeship. And that apprenticeship, the con. Oh, also, I will say the other part to being a pro in apprenticeship is like you're actually in a barbershop. Like other than learning how to cut hair, you're there like I don't know, let's say a few days a week, learning from a barber. Like you're in a barbershop, you're getting the knowledge and soaking it all in of like everything that like a barbershop has to offer and what it's really like. And maybe you're sweeping and stuff as well, helping out, becoming friends, maybe becoming friends with certain clients, like all types of stuff. So it's a great way to already network before you even start working. You know what I mean? So that's also a big plus. And so one of the con to apprenticeship would just be like you don't study as much on state board unless you do it yourself, and on like the state board exam unless you do it yourself. So you might not have a higher chance of passing. But as long as you can lock in and focus, you should be able to pass it yourself. Don't have consistent clients coming in while you're an apprentice. Like obviously, you're gonna have to bring your friends or hope that your the trainer, the barber that's training you, gives you some people. But like in a barber school, they do provide you with a lot of clients, but in an apprenticeship, they most likely do not. So that's the other con to it, I would say. But I mean, in my opinion, like neither one is bad for sure. But based on like what I've seen and the things that I've learned, when it comes to apprentice and barber school, I would recommend apprenticeship because getting confidence in your skill set is really, really important in the beginning. If I would have had that same confidence in the beginning, I probably would have been cutting faster, making more money, all types of stuff. But it really is just repetitions, just like anything. Like the more reps you do, the better you get. But when you have somebody that's the other thing too, is making sure you're picking the right person to train you. So don't just pick anybody. But if you have the right person training you and they're very skillful and they are sitting there one on one with you and critiquing everything and making sure you're doing your best every single time, your progression is just going to be a lot quicker. You're going to be doing your reps every day while you're with that trainer, but like because they're critiquing everything, your progression is probably going to be a lot quicker. And then, all you got to do is just, like I said, you got to make sure that you really focus on studying for that barber exam on your own to make sure you pass it on the first try so you can get your license and get started working there. But yeah, and that's another thing too, if they see how good you're doing by the time you're done with your apprenticeship, by the time that you have your license, they will most likely have a chair for you. You know what I mean? So if they see that you're not doing well at the end of your apprenticeship, then they still might not hire you. It doesn't mean that they have to, but if they see the progression and how hard you've been working, like they'll probably put you in there. You know what I mean? So that's another thing too. Is like the networking part of it. So I would probably say apprenticeship would be the best way to go, but either one is still not bad. It's just, you gotta weigh out the pros and cons. And also, it'll probably save you a lot more money. That's a huge pro, actually. I just thought about that. The apprenticeship will save you a lot more money because you got to pay for barber school, obviously. So that's my take on becoming a licensed barber in the U.S. These are the two ways that it can be done if you want to be a licensed barber in the United States. These are my opinions and thoughts on everything about it. So, hope this helped somebody. And if you have any more questions, just hit me in the comments.